Lowe's knows how to help you get the most out of your store run. That's why members save more with My Lowe's Rewards. Earn points towards My Lowe's money on eligible purchases. Get access to member-only deals and free member gifts. Plus, unlock free standard shipping when you reach Silver Key status. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today. Lowe's. We help. You save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about part 2 of my Seychelles trip. Now, if you're new to the podcast or you haven't seen part 1, it doesn't matter. Like all my episodes, they're about a certain week in my life. So last week's episode was all about kind of my holiday in the Seychelles. Now this part 2 is going to be a little bit more of an adventure, a little bit more rustic, the place that I was staying. I was staying on a private island, and my boyfriend was working on the island, so I'm going to be telling you about the work that he does in conservation. We were saving the turtles, all that fun stuff. But before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, and they also ship all over the world. And do you know what's coming up? Soon it'll be February. Do you know what that means? Valentine's Day. So if you want to get your loved ones, your animals, a little Valentine's gift, maybe some treats. Maybe your dog needs a new toy. Maybe your loved one needs a new pair of wellies. As a little thing to cheer them up for Valentine's Day, be sure to head to redpostequestrian.co.uk. Also, for regular listeners and people who love coming to my meet and greets or are interested in coming to my meet and greets, I will be doing a meet and greet at Red Post at some stage this year. So let me know in the comments what time of year would be best, because Red Post, the store is based in Devon, which is a beautiful part of the world. So I was thinking maybe the summer. I know a lot of people who come along. There's people from Australia, people from Scotland, people from all over the world have come to my meet and greet at Red Post, and they've had a bit of a, British summer holiday, because there's a lot to do and see in Devon. Very lovely, beautiful place. But anyway, yeah, let me know in the comments. But anyway, let's get into today's episode. As I said before, the first part was a little bit of me, exploring the Seychelles on the main island, Mahe. Now, this second part, we go to a private island. Now, because it's a private island, there are some things that I need to keep secret. So, number one, I cannot tell you what island it is, because Batman, who is nicknamed for my boyfriend, Batman is working there, and he is still currently working there. So number one, I do not want to get him in trouble. Number two, I do not want to get in trouble. So if for some reason, with me describing this island or talking about things that we do on it, you somehow figure out what island it is, like some sort of international super spy, please keep it quiet. Please don't tell anyone or don't shout about it in the comments. There is one thing that actually, I don't know if many people know about this, but on social media, you can block certain words. So where I live, I've blocked all of the local landmarks, the name of my town, all that kind of stuff. So I might have to put that on the blocked list. There are some words I make sure that all swear words and that kind of thing are blocked on my channel as well, because we're a family friendly place over here. But anyway, just thought I would put that little disclaimer out there. So don't worry, I was allowed on the island. He didn't just smuggle me in. I had to be approved, and I was very, very grateful, because normally they only let guests stay from a Monday to a Friday or a Friday to a Monday, and I got to go from a Friday to a Friday, so I had a whole week on this island. So I was very, very grateful for the island, number one, having me, and also number two, having me as a guest for free. So I didn't have to pay anything for my accommodation, for food, that kind of thing. I mean, my boyfriend is working there, so there's that technically. He's paying for it by working. But anyway, let's start off. So we had a little trip on Mahe, which is the main island in the Seychelles. And then I have another story from Mahe before we begin. Also, last week's episode was a slightly longer one, so I have no idea how this one might be a longer one as well. So, get yourself comfortable, whatever you're doing. I know some people, it's the morning commute, or they're mucking out their stables, or they're doing chores, or cooking their dinner. So whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a lovely time. Anyway, so number one, we had our rental car And as always with a rental car, you normally have to fill it up with petrol or diesel or whatever it is before you give it back. So we had a fun time at a Seychelles petrol station. Now, this honestly was like a comedy sketch. Batman often jokes that he's a little bit like Mr. Bean because sometimes just unfortunate things happen to him. So anyway, we were in the car. He was like, this is the least smooth thing that he has ever done. So we pull on up, realise that, number one, we were in the diesel/truck section. So this was a sort of petrol station where you can't really turn around. So you had to go back out onto the road and then turn back in again. So we did one loop because we were in the diesel truck place. Then we went round and we didn't know, we were like, oh no, this is a rental car. We don't know which side the cap is for the petrol. Went on the wrong side. What did we do? Go around and do another loop. Then we went on up, and in the Seychelles, they have a sort of petrol station where somebody fills it up for you. So we pulled up, stopped, turned off the engine. The lady was like, nope, you need to go forward a bit more. Turned on the engine, went forward a little bit more. And then we were like, oh, wait a second. Is it petrol or diesel? I'm pretty sure it's petrol. So the lady was like, do you want me to fill you up? And we're like, yeah, just wait a second. We were trying to get this manual out, look through the manual, just double check that it was petrol. And then the lady was already filling it up and we were like, well, if it's diesel, then we've got a big problem here. Anyway, luckily it was petrol, so it was all good. And then, so anyway, she filled it all up. And then Batman realised, oh no, my wallet is in the boot. So we had to get out the car, get the wallet from the boot. Honestly, we must have looked like such stupid tourists. Like, they were like, what idiots, what are they doing anyway? So yeah, there we go. We really embarrassed ourselves at the petrol station, but you know what? If you can go through that together, you can go through life together. Anyway, I don't know where that came from. So yeah, we had a fun time at the petrol station, dropped the car off. We actually had a little bit of an issue with the car, with the like car rental people, because I don't really know what happened because I wasn't there when Batman picked up the car, but for some reason they were trying to charge us for an extra day, and we were dropping the car off at midday, and I think like that's when they said for us to drop it off, and they were trying to charge us an extra day, and this guy was like getting all irate at us. And Batman, he's a very lovely guy. Like all I'm gonna say is that he wouldn't be a good lawyer. He was like, I'm really sorry if this inconvenienced you, but this is how many days you told us that we were going to pay for the car and that kind of thing. I don't know where this came from. Like, don't call me a Karen, because I was standing up for what was right. But, like, I let them, like, go back and forth about trying to pay for an extra day on the car, even though we were literally giving the car back and we didn't have it for a whole day. Anyway, I just stood in here and I just said to the car guy, I don't know where the sassiness came from. I just said, in a stern but forward, like, I'm not a shouty person, did not shout or anything. And it was just one sentence, and I just said, you have made a mistake. This is what you told us it was going to be. We are not paying for your mistake. And the guy just shut up. Like I just said one sentence. Like, I feel like when you go back and forth. Anyway, we got it all sorted. It was all fine. But that was a bit of a little bit of a stressful moment. So anyway, that was quite funny. So anyway, all's good with the rental car, dropped off, no scratches. That's always like a little bit of a scary, hairy time, you know, when they're like inspecting it and that kind of thing. But all was well. Then it was time to get a boat to the private island. Now, when I talked to Batman about getting the boat, it sounded he was describing it more as a barge. And you know, with big boats, I feel safe on a big boat. They're not as rocky. Anyway, we turned up and it was literally like a little dinghy. I think it probably sat about 12 people maximum. Like, there were not many seats. And I was like, oh.
This episode is brought to you by Abercrombie. Build your fits of the day with Abercrombie's newest denim drop. Here's where to start. Abercrombie's 90s straight jean goes with any shirt from tees to sweater polos. Super versatile. Their loose and baggy jeans are more trend forward, so you can grab those and go out with your friends. Abercrombie's denim fits come in a range of washes. Build your looks around Abercrombie denim. Shop online or in-store.
With new McValue at McDonald's, you always get more than you expect every day. So even if gas prices go up, you can buy a double cheeseburger and add a McChicken for $1. Or before game time, you can get $5 meal deals for the group. And if breakfast is about to end, get deals in the app to save before the bell. The choice is yours, and the choice with McValue is always more.
Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value. Must opt into rewards for app deals.
I don't want to get seasick. Don't worry if you have emetophobia. We will not be talking about any of that nasty stuff. Don't worry, you are all good. But yeah, seasickness is not fun. Normally I'm pretty good. I do a lot of traveling, but there has been one time before where I went on a boat where we did snorkeling, and that was a little bit choppy. So I was talking, we met up for lunch before going on the boat with some friends, and one of the guy, he's like a professional sailor, fisherman kind of person. He was like, you'll be fine. And then I talked to our friend's girlfriend, and she was like, take travel sickness pills. And I was like, out of the two of you, I believe you, so you best believe. So I took one to start with, because on the package it said like 1 for children, 2 for adults, and I thought I'll take one for now, because seasickness tablets, they can make you a little bit drowsy, a little bit sleepy, and I was like, okay, I don't want to like rock up on this island, meet all of Batman's co-workers and friends, and be a zombie and tired. So I was like, I'm gonna take one. Anyway, when we got onto the boat, the head guy, when he was the boat driver, a sailor. Anyway, the head dude, he was like, okay, fellas. He didn't actually say that, but he was like, okay, guys, it is gonna be rough today. So if you need a bag for what bags can be used for, let me know. So as soon as he said that, I was like, I'm downing my second seasickness tablet. This is not happening. Like, I'm gonna take it. So anyway, if you want to know what I listened to the whole journey out there, because I was very prepared with downloading movies and TV shows on my iPad, but I was not very prepared with downloading music. I had a whole album from, is it called? I always pronounce them wrong. The Wallows. Anyway, I had a whole album of them that I listened to, and I listened to the whole thing all the way there. The journey was about 1 hour and 45 minutes, which sounds like a long time, but Batman did tell me that it was 3 hours originally. So then when it was actually 1 hour 45, it didn't seem as bad. So I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. Or maybe my brain just got mixed up, and for some reason I thought it was 3 hours. Anyway, so yeah, but 1 hour 45 minutes of going up and down and up and down, and I was actually okay. Those tablets, they did their job. I was fine. All is well. So anyway, we rocked up on the island, and it was so nice that all of his friends, that I honestly felt like the biggest stalker, because number one, Batman had told me stories about all of his friends, and everyone's like friendships, and I don't know, just, chatting about everyone, what they do, where they're from. So I kind of like knew everyone's names, where they lived before they came to the Seychelles and all that kind of stuff, what they do. And then also I was that person that went and followed all of them on Instagram, because, okay, that probably sounds really stalker creepy. Esme, what are you doing? You haven't even met these people and you're requesting to follow them. But in my defense, they would sometimes post stories on their private accounts of Batman on their story. And, I want to see what they're getting up to. I want to see, what this island's like that I'm going to be coming to in a few weeks' time. So I went in there and just requested to follow everyone. Apparently they had this one lunchtime where everyone was sitting around, and they were like, did Esme request to follow you on Instagram? And everyone's like, yeah, she requested me as well. And they were all just like, they must have thought I was a proper little weirdo. Anyway, so yeah, that was quite good fun. So yeah, met all of them. They were all so lovely, such lovely people. Made such good friends with them as well, because I was literally like basically living with these people for a whole week, and spending a lot of time with them as well. So anyway, we arrived and we were staying in this kind of little treehouse cabin-y kind of thing. And it was so sweet, because all of his friends had put flowers on the bed and spelt it out to say welcome. And they had this box, all these flowers and local fruits on. And we walked in and it was so, so cute. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The place that we were staying in, it was basic. It wasn't like, tropical island, honeymoon, big extravagant room. It wasn't like that at all. It was like a little kind of cabin that didn't even have windows. It just had like mesh mosquito kind of things. It didn't have aircon, but it did have a fan. And what was also quite funny was, because like there was like a we had the whole thing to ourselves, but there were, I think, 4 rooms in this cabin, and then there was like, obviously a bathroom, but the like middle bit was kind of outside but inside. It basically only had 2 walls, so it was very open, so we had lots of little critters that came and joined us. Remember one day I was having a shower and I was like, I feel like something's watching me. Turned around, there was a gecko watching me have a shower, the little peeping Tom. Anyway, so yes, that was an experience, having a gecko watch you shower, but you know what? It's all good. He's not going to be telling anyone what I look like naked. So that was that. But no, the island was beautiful, incredible. It was quite funny because we'd just be like walking along and then there'd be a beautiful beach, and Batman would, like, on the first day he gave me like a full tour of the island, which I'm not gonna lie, I was exhausted by the end of it because there are a lot of hills. So basically if you wanted to get from one side of the island to the other, it took probably about 45 minutes to walk, which doesn't sound that long, but when you basically are always either climbing up or climbing down, because it was like a big hill or even like mountain in the middle of it, there was a lot of walking. As I said in the previous episode, my calves have never looked so good. Like, my legs right now are so toned from all the walking and climbing and hiking that I've been doing. But yeah, we'll be walking along and then Batman would be like, oh, you see this beach here? This is where a Hollywood actor proposed to their fiance, or to their now wife. And I was like, wow! Like, you'd just be coming out with all these fun facts of like celebrities that had stayed on the island and that kind of thing. So that was very cool. But obviously he was there doing all the conservation stuff. So obviously on the island there were a lot of animals that I will get into. So I felt very, very honoured because he basically used up all of his annual leave for when I was there. So he only worked 2 days on the whole week that I was on the island, and obviously had like the week before that he had off where he was on the mainland with me. So that was very, very sweet. So first day we had was like first full day, it was the Saturday. So that day we just did exploring, and then we had like a beach day in the afternoon, which was really nice. And then on the Sunday, he was like, I'm going to work on the Sunday because normally the Sunday's sometimes a little bit more chilled, a little bit more of a chilled vibe. So the first job that he did that I kind of came along with was Turtle Patrol, which I always find so funny because it sounds like Paw Patrol. So it was like, yeah, I'm doing Turtle Patrol this morning. So anyway, we went to the biggest beach that day, and it rained. It rained a lot. It was very, very heavy rain, which normally there are no turtles when it rains because turtles don't tend to like the fresh water, apparently. So we went to the beach to go and check if there were any turtles there, and there were no turtles. So that was quite funny start to the trip on the island. A lot of rain. And then in the afternoon it cleared up, and his job that afternoon wasn't as good, I don't think. It was checking the terrapin traps. Obviously the traps were not for harming the terrapins. These are conservationists. Just want to put it out there. They were traps to see if because they do capture and release. I'm going to try and explain this in the best way I can from the furthest I got was A-level biology, which is still pretty good education-wise, but, you know, I didn't study ecology or biology or any of that at university, so a lot of this is going to be in ESME terms, which might not be as scientific, and I'm trying my best to make sure it's as accurate as possible. But they do something called capture and release, so they will capture the terrapins and then like maybe put a mark on them and then release them, and then they'll capture some more, and depending on how many have a mark or not, they can try and figure out how many there are in that kind of area. So they were doing that, but apparently the area where they were doing the terrapins was, number one, in like a stagnant river kind of thing, and number two, apparently there aren't many terrapins there are normally mud crabs. So he was like, yeah, like I know catching terrapins sounds quite fun, but this one, I don't know if you're going to enjoy that much, because they were putting like this rotting fish in the traps, which apparently smell really, really bad. He was like, look, what we're going to be doing is putting rotting fish in a trap in a stagnant river that smells, and we're probably not even going to see terrapins. It's just going to be mud crabs. He was like, do you want to come along, or would you rather go and have a nap? And I was like, I am a country girl. I love my country life, but I'm going to go for that nap. I was like, I'm very happy to help with the ecology things, but to be fair, I was very used to at this stage having a little bit of a siesta, having an afternoon nap. I am a girl who needs her sleep, and also my body was still getting used to the temperature change, because it is very hot and very humid in the Seychelles. I think it was about, like, the coldest it got was 25 degrees, and that was at night. So when Batman was like, only pack one jumper on my packing list, he meant it, because normally I'm a chilly gal. Like, I will have a jumper on even in the summer. Like, I just loved having something to snuggle into, you know. But even then I was like, no jumpers were worn, no cardigans were worn. I needed, instead of needing my, like, chill down time, I literally needed chill down time. I would go into the shade, lie in the fan, and have a snooze. And tell you what, I've been very good at napping recently. Like, I feel like I'm a nap expert. I will sleep for exactly 20 minutes or half an hour and wake up and not go into REM sleep, so I don't feel all groggy afterwards. So there we go. That's my little superpower. Then the day after that, it was beautiful and sunny, and I can't even believe I haven't talked about the tortoises yet, because before I came to the island, I said to Batman, I really want to see the giant tortoises. What is the likelihood that I will see one when I'm out there? And he just said 100%. Literally anywhere you would walk on this island, you would at least see 5 giant tortoises. They were literally everywhere. And these giant tortoises, they live for a long time. They can also, a fun fact that I found out about giant tortoises is that they can float. How wild is that? Because they are big boys. They are heavy. They are hefty. And they can float, apparently. So that's why they're on so many of the different islands, because they would just, float on by in the sea, which is wild when you think about it. So anyway, that was very cool. Some of the really, 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 really old ones, they were friendly. So obviously they'd been kicking about on these islands for a long time alongside humans, and were like, actually, these guys, they're pretty chill. They'll give me a little tickle under my chin, and you know what? That's really cute. So anyway, I got to, my favourite thing was giving a little tickle under all the tortoises' chins. Well, the friendly ones anyway. Not that the other ones weren't friendly, they were just a bit scared of humans, which is, like, fair enough. Have you seen The Human Race? But yes, there were so many giant tortoises, and the ones that I did get to give a little tickle under their chin. My favourite thing, which sounds really mean, but it was just so funny. My favourite thing is, after, even if you'd been there for so long, like 20 minutes, giving this tortoise a pat and a scratch and that kind of thing, when you would walk away, they would, like, because they would kind of, like, stand up taller and kind of, like, be like, yes, give me a little scratchy here. But then when you would walk away, because obviously tortoises are a little bit slow, they would just carry on standing there with their neck kind of stretched out, like, come back, please. Don't leave me, I want more scratchies. And then they would, like, very slowly go back down again, kind of thing. It almost looked like they would, what's it called? A sleeping bag when you go camping and it kind of deflates. It looks like they were deflating as they were kind of going down. But the one thing that I would say that gave me an absolute jump scare, the amount of times we would be walking home in the dark to our little tree house. You would think maybe it was a boulder, or if it's dark, you just honestly would not see these giant tortoises. But the ones that are scared of you, they go into their shell, and as they go into their shell, they hiss at you. Now, this hiss, it sounds like a python. It sounds like a big snake, and I'm not scared of snakes. I'm not scared of any creatures, really. The only thing I would say that I'm most scared of, like I'm not scared of creepy crawlies, anything like that. But I don't know why, but I have an irrational fear of being eaten alive by maggots, or anything that's like a parasite that goes like under your skin, or stuff like that. Oh, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Anyway, but I'm not scared of snakes, but just as you walk along, something hisses at you, I'm gonna scream. So the amount of times we were walking back and I was like, oh no, everyone's gonna know that's me that's screaming, because it was just like a jump scare kind of scream, Anyway, so yes, walking back in the dark. Also, they had a lot of millipedes as well, so you'd be walking along and you'd have to try not to step on these millipedes. So, millipedes, they're like a long... You know what a millipede is. It's like a long little guy, probably about 30 centimetres, like the size of a ruler, and they have lots and lots of legs. We did see some centipedes as well, but they are much smaller. They're maybe, shorter than your finger, I'd say. Don't worry, we will get onto more creepy crawlies when I talk about my night walk later on. But yes, one thing that felt really weird to me, because being British in the UK, when it's summer, we have really long days, like really long evenings. So sometimes it doesn't get dark until like 9 p.m. But because obviously I was in a hot country, for me, it felt like summer. But it was really weird because it would be 6 p.m. and it would be dark, but it would be hot outside. And it just, apparently also when I'm out there, I noticed that when it gets dark really, really quickly. It's not like in the UK where you have really long sunset and then you have this kind of twilight and that kind of thing. It was like day, night. So that was one thing is, well, luckily nowadays, modern technology, most people are carrying a phone on them that has a torch. Actually, because the island did not have very good Wi-Fi, it had good enough Wi-Fi where I was able to post stories. I wasn't able to look at stories. I was maybe able to look at like a main post. I couldn't, no videos loaded. And I couldn't post any videos either. So I had a social media detox while I was out there. And normally I'm the sort of person, I carry my phone everywhere I go. But you know what? There were some times where I was going to the beach. I mean, I took my Kindle with me because you guys know I'm a reading gal. But I was like, you know what? If Batman's got his phone, and also I have no data in the Seychelles, I had airplane mode on the whole time because I didn't want to pay for the charges being like on the other side of the world. I was like, I don't need that. I can, you know, all good. Hopefully there's no issues and I'm just living in my little off-grid paradise kind of world, what it felt like. So I had a real social media break, which for me with my job does not happen often because it is literally my job. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm very, very, very grateful to have this job. Absolutely love it. So grateful for you guys for listening and watching and making this possible. But when it comes to social media, there is no break. You're on this hamster wheel, and if you slack, somebody else is going to take your spot. So anyway, I would say I'm a rather hardworking person, if I don't say so myself. But you've always got to be one step ahead. Anyway, so it felt weird. But there were a few posts that I don't know if you could tell, but there were a few posts that number one was scheduled because they were like brand things that needed to go out. And there were a few things that my dad posted for me. But all of the things where it's like, I'm in the Seychelles, that was me. Don't want you to think that I'm like betraying you. Like, actually, it's not me that's posting on Instagram. It's a middle-aged man. But my dad did help me with a few like brand posts that I needed to do while I was out there. But it felt nice, actually. I felt refreshed. My brain felt so clear. I mean, I don't want to be like, don't spend time on social media because, I mean, carry on watching my stuff. Everyone else, irrelevant, but carry on watching my stuff. Anyway, sorry, had to be that person. So that was quite nice. But it was weird. Yeah, so sometimes I'd be walking along and I'd be like, yeah, I just did not have my phone on me. I feel like in modern day life, normally you always have it with you, like right next to you, just in case anything happens. And I kind of realised not really much happens. I mean, I'd connect to Wi-Fi in the evening at the the cafeteria kind of place, and I'd like, you know, check up on the group chat. But I feel like January, such a, you know, dull month in the UK anyway, because it's winter and cold and Christmas has been and everyone's sad. But I feel like January, like, yeah, nothing happened. Even in my friendship group, there was like a few of my friends were on holiday as well. Nobody really met up much. I was like, oh, I thought I was gonna, you know, 2 weeks away, I'd miss out on so much, all these different things. But actually, it was everyone just having a chill time, recovering from Christmas by the sounds of things, getting back into a routine. So yeah, I've talked about the tortoises. Next, I need to tell you about the turtles, because on another day, Batman was working. He was like, okay, there's 2 different beaches. There's one that needs 4 turtles releasing, and there's one that might have 170 turtles releasing, or it might not be the day today and there might be none. So it was like the choice between the 2. Do I go to one beach where I'm definitely going to see turtles, but there's only 4, or do I go to the other beach where I have had to risk it for a biscuit? Anyway, I decided to go, you know what? I only have a week here. I might not see turtles being released. I really want to see some, even if it's only 4. So first time I went, and I saw 4 baby turtles being released into the sea. Well, they don't actually get released into the sea. They you have to put them kind of at the top of the beach as if they were in the wild, and then they have to make the whole run down the sand for many different reasons. Number one, so they're awake enough, because a little fun fact about turtles, if you didn't know, when they hatch out of their eggs and then they often stay underground in the sand for maybe like 2, maybe even 3 days, just vibing. Well, they're not just vibing, they're getting their strength up so they can dig their way out and then make their journey all the way down the beach and then into the sea. So they were put up at the top and then we sat and we watched them slowly paddle away, go down into the sea. And also one of the other reasons why we need to make sure that they do their little walk down is not only getting their strengths up, but also it opens up kind of their lungs, them breathing, that kind of thing, so they're ready to go into the ocean. So anyway, I saw the 4 turtles go out to sea, and it was honestly one of the most magical and heartwarming things. They were so tiny, they were smaller than the palm of my hand. They were absolutely minuscule, so that was very, very cute. But after when it was time to go back home for lunch, Batman came over and was like, Ez, I'm so sorry, because we went to different beaches. He went to the other beach where it was like, might be loads, might be none. He was like, we just released 174 baby turtles at our beach. And I was like, no, I only saw the 4. So anyway, luckily, on my last day on the island, they were like, Ez, we've got some good news. There are some baby turtles at the beach. They're going to be hatching today. We're pretty sure of it. Do you want to come along? And I was like, yes, please. So anyway, we came along and that one had 101, which when you see 101 baby turtles all in one place, that is a lot. That is so many. And they're all kind of like stepping on top of each other and that kind of thing. They are so cute. And one of the reasons why this work is so important is these turtles, they are in...
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
At the UPS Store, we know things can get busy this upcoming holiday. You can count on us to be open and ready to help with any packing and shipping or anything else you might need.
Is there anything you can't do?
Actually, I don't have a good singing voice. The UPS... Nope. But our certified packing experts can pack and ship just about anything.
At least that's good.
The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. Come in today to get your holiday goodies there on time.
Endangered, and one of the main threats to them is, I think it's called I can't say it. Anyway, there are lots of crabs that like to eat the eggs. So one of the main reasons why they do this work is a lot of, there are also some places where we actually, on that same day, we saw a place where a turtle had laid eggs. I think we think it might have done it overnight. But for some reason, the turtle did not lay the eggs in the right spot. They laid them in the middle of the beach, which... when, midday would come, high tide, all of the eggs would have been washed away and that would not have been great. Bye-bye babies. So what we did was we had to dig out this hole very gently, pick up all of the eggs and then go and put them in a safer spot. And then they also had lots of different areas. They had kind of like, I think for maybe like the weaker ones or that kind of thing, they had like a shed that they put them in. They also had this like nets where they would put it over where they had like a hatchery. This is really difficult to describe because I want to say it in the right way because obviously they're doing it all correctly and my explaining is definitely not scientific or correct, but they had this kind of like hatchery where there were all these nets over, and then when it was time for releasing them they would go and make sure that they were released in this kind of as close to as the turtle did lay the eggs. And yeah, it was just magical seeing these 101 babies, like the 101 Dalmatians, 101 baby turtles all go down. And it was funny seeing like there were some that were stronger than others. There were some that were like, they were awake straight away, ready to go, zooming down. There was some that was zooming so far because we kind of dug a little channel for them to go down so they would all kind of go down in the same direction. There was some that were so speedy and so adventurous, they would kind of climb over this channel, and I was like, whoa dude, slow down, you're going in the wrong direction. But yes, so obviously, yeah, we have to try and make it as natural as possible, let them go down. There were so many of them that they would like go into the sea, because the sea was actually quite choppy when we were out there, that would go down, and like the sea would flip them onto their backs, and then they'll be on their backs and they'll be like flailing around, and you just have to, you have to let nature do its thing and let these turtles kind of flip themselves back over again and then be able to get into the ocean smoothly. So yeah, it was honestly like watching a David Attenborough documentary. It was incredible, definitely like a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I was so grateful to be able to go to this island and see all of this kind of wild, untouched nature, which was incredible. Also, a little fun fact about the island, we saw a pirate wall, which is quite cool. So it was a wall that was built by pirates to stop alligators, or it was kind of like around like a little pondy kind of thing, which apparently crocodiles, there we go, need to get my nature right, crocodiles lived in. But apparently the crocodiles were there are no crocodiles in the Seychelles anymore, because they have all been destroyed, which apparently the Seychelles people aren't too mad about. So anyway, so that was one thing that seemed really weird to me, because I'd be like walking around this jungle, Batman every now and again would be like barefoot, because we'd be like walking on the beach barefoot and then just walk into the jungle barefoot. And like even in the UK, I don't know if I'd want to walk around the UK barefoot. I mean, the UK, we have such puny animals. We have adders, which is a type of snake that would maybe seriously harm a small child. But if you're an adult and you get anti-venom, you're all good. And they're very, very rare. We have no spiders really that can harm you majorly. Like we have stinging nettles, and that's it. So, which are a plant that gives you a little bit of a sting. So yeah, we have such puny animals. So going to like a different country or a foreign country, for me, I'm always like a little bit wary. Like, I don't know, when you go to America, you guys have like bears and stuff like that. But yeah, so I was thinking, oh my gosh, is there going to be like creepy crawlies? I mean, the one thing that apparently it was like maybe good to look out for is scorpions, which again, I don't think they would seriously harm you, but you don't want to get stung by a scorpion. A little fun fact about scorpions, actually, that I found out. You might see ones with big claws. They're not the ones that you need to be scared of. You need to be scared of the ones with small claws, because they have stronger venom. Because when you think about it, with adaptation and that kind of thing, they don't need the big claws to defend themselves, because they got the big venom, So actually, if you have the big claws, you don't really have, the strong venom. So, interesting little fact. So, yes, what was I talking about before? I was talking about creepy crawlies. Oh, yeah, so there really isn't anything that you need to be scared of in the Seychelles. I did get bitten quite a lot by mosquitoes. I felt like all kind of, bugs and things, because, number one, they just love me. I am that person that is a mosquito magnet. So, Batman, he didn't get any bites, because they all went for me. But, so maybe I'm like a little good luck charm. If anybody's going travelling and you want a little mosquito magnet, I can be your gal. But, anyway, so yeah, it was weird. So, oh yeah, I was going to tell you about, I just felt like the whole trip, my legs have never had so many things applied to them, because every day obviously I put on my sun cream, then I put on my bug spray, and then if I had any bites I'd put on my like anti-itch bug cream, and then if I got a little bit sunburnt I'd put on like my moisturizer or my I've never been sunburnt before. I have never ever in my life been sunburnt before. Again, overprotective parents. I was that gal on the beach as a child who had her sun vest, her sun hat, her like sunglasses, everything. My mum would even put so much sun cream on that I looked like a ghost. She would put so many layers on that I literally had like a even whiter face than I have now. So I actually got sunburnt for the first time, and it's a bit of an embarrassing place, because this is a warning to anybody who does snorkeling. Now, when I was snorkeling, obviously I had my sun vest on because I didn't want to get sunburnt. I had loads of sun cream on, that kind of thing. Really good at applying sun cream. One place that I didn't think to apply extra sun cream, which I did put sun cream there, but maybe I probably should have put a lot more there, and that is my bum cheeks. Yes, I got sunburnt on my bum cheeks, which is probably one of the worst places to get sunburnt, because when you would sit down and it was burning, it wasn't very comfortable. But I was talking to my mum, and she said, actually, your bum cheeks is probably one of the least places where you're going to get skin cancer or anything like that, because your bum probably doesn't see the sun much. I mean, some people's might, but my bum is normally covered, so I don't have to worry about that. But yes, so wear your sun cream, people. Don't get sunburn. I'm actually probably the most tanned I've ever been. I know I'm tanned because I have got my summer foundation or my summer concealer makeup on at the moment. But you might look at me and be like, Esme, you don't really look that different. Especially with the ring light, which kind of makes me feel like I'm either at the dentist or I'm being abducted by aliens. So anyway, there we go. But we went snorkeling, and oh my gosh, it was beautiful. There was so, like, the reefs there was so a lot more healthy than I was expecting. There were so many fish, so many different things. I managed to spot an octopus, which I was very excited about. I mean, actually, it was Batman that spotted it. It was in like between these little cracks in a hole, and I could see its little suckers on one of its legs. So that was very cool. Also, my favourite fish that I saw, parrotfish, just because I think they look so goofy, because they have like little beaks where they kind of eat. I was going to say that, yeah, they eat the coral, don't they? Yeah. So I always find they look so funny. So I was really excited that I got to see a lot of parrotfish. I also got to see, so this was in the Indian Ocean, so I got to see lots of different Indian Ocean fish. That was very cool, some that I hadn't seen before. So that was incredible. I love snorkeling, and I forgot how much I loved snorkeling, because I can't remember when I last went snorkeling before that. Probably like 2019. So if anything is pre-pandemic nowadays, that is like a long time ago. I feel like, yeah, very different person to back then. But anyway, so yes, the snorkeling was incredible. There are a few days where we couldn't go snorkeling just because the time of year where I did go, the sea was very rough. As I said before, on our sea crossing, that was a rough one. But it was beautiful, and they had lots of little coves where there was kind of not a seawall but like a coral kind of wall. So actually, like where the marina, there were lots of different beaches that had different names. So the beach near the kind of dock, that one was really well protected. So even if the sea was really stormy out there, we were nice and protected. So that was a really nice one. Also, that was a nice one, which I said in the canteen, I was like, all these people are like professional divers that do diving and snorkel all the time. And I just said, oh, my favourite spot. So somebody asked me, oh, where's your favourite spot to snorkel? And I just said at the marina, because if I get tired, I can just stand up, which probably sounds really lazy. But when you're snorkeling, and I found, because I had a new mask, because the last mask I had, I was like a child, so, or I think it was my mum's old one. I was like, I don't want to borrow my mum's mask and then like the plastic be really old because it's like 20 years old and snap, and then not have a mask to wear in the Seychelles. So I did get myself a new mask. Obviously, I had to get a pink one, but I did reuse, reduce, recycle, use my. Actually, to be fair, it's probably a little bit gross when you think about it, using someone else's snorkel. Like, that's where your mouth goes, like using someone else's mouth guard in hockey. Maybe not that far. Anyway, I guess if you clean it properly. Not the mouth guard. I'm talking about the snorkel here. But I did use my mum's fins. That were a little bit retro, but they did a good job. I was very fast in them, so there we go. But when you're snorkeling and you're in an area where your feet can't touch the bottom and it's deep, and you have to take your mask off because it's all steamed up, and obviously I had a new mask, so it was steaming up quite a lot, and you're trying to like clear out the steam, or maybe it's like falling down, you're trying to get it all comfortable, and you're just kicking your legs trying to stay above the water. Like, I'm a very good swimmer. Actually, my mum says I'm an excellent swimmer. That sounds so funny. Like I'm a kid on the playground. Like, my mummy says I'm a good swimmer. But no, I would say I like swimming. I'm a very, very strong swimmer. But when you haven't been snorkeling for a little while, it does take the energy out of you. So when you're there, like, and the waves are quite big, and you're trying not to get stingy seawater in your eye and trying to defog your mask, like, it's quite a bit of energy, quite a bit of effort. But we managed to get some incredible footage on my underwater camera. Little fun fact, if you want to know what camera I use. It's not a GoPro. It is an Osmo, which I always find the two brands, like, it's a bit like with iPhone and Android. One comes out with a better one, and then another one comes out with a better one, another one comes out. But anyway, for this trip, I did buy a new underwater camera, which I had so much fun with. This sounds like an ad, it's not, but if the team at DJI want to come on the This Esme channel, you're welcome to hit up my email. But it was really cool because it had a Bluetooth feature, so I could send all the photos over to my phone. And even like, I was having so much fun. I was geeking out. As you guys know, I'm a bit of a camera nerd. I mean, this is what I do as my job. It would be strange if I wasn't. But I was like it had like an underwater feature where I could color grade it, and like, which is like kind of like putting a filter but on video, and it was especially designed for underwater stuff. And I was having so much fun, and it did make me kind of realize like, like as much as I was having so much fun, I think I feel so happy and motivated, even though I'm back from literal tropical paradise, because it kind of made me realize, oh wow, I'm so lucky to have so many lovely things in my life that I can come home to, like my family. I did miss them a lot, and obviously the horses and all of the pets. My dad's waving. He's like, yes, that's me. I'm not gonna lie, I cried when my dad came and picked me up at the airport because I missed him. We both cried. We probably look like absolute weirdos. But anyway, so there we go. It's been a long time. I think that might be the longest time I've ever been away from my dad. I was going to say my mum and my dad, but I have been on work trips with my dad where we've been away for like 2-3 weeks. But it was the longest I've been away from my dad, so there we go. We spend a lot of time with each other as well, as he is my employee. I was going to say co-worker, I'm like, no, I am the boss. But anyway, yeah, he just said I'm the boss. Anyway, continuing on. So yeah, snorkeling, incredible. I even saw a turtle laying some eggs as well on our first day. Obviously did not get too close. We did not want to disturb her. So I literally ticked off everything on my kind of Seychelles bucket list. And also another day where I did some kind of conservation stuff with the conservation team, which was actually quite interesting. It was kind of one of the ones which wasn't my boyfriend's favourite, but we managed to see the bird anyway. So there is a species of bird called white eyes. I'm pretty sure I've got that correct. And what they would do is they'd get a speaker. Again, I'm saying this in Esme terms. This is probably way better in scientific terms, but anyway, you guys can understand Esme terms because it's Esme terms. Anyway, so they would put like a little speaker and it would play a noise of this bird, and then they would see if any birds would kind of, like, I think it was a warning call. So then they would see if any birds would come over and be attracted by it, especially the white eyes, which is what they were looking for. And then they would do like a map of the island to see where their territories are, where they were living, if they were still there, because obviously this is quite an endangered bird, I believe. I also saw a bird that used to be extinct, or what they thought was extinct, but wasn't, so I was very excited by that. I saw a Seychelles magpie robin. So that was very cool, especially as I got Batman, I think it was a book from the 80s, but it was very cool. It was like a little vintage book, and it was all about the Seychelles and the animals and the birds there. And he was like, yeah, this one, the book says it's extinct, but actually we've got it here and they're vibing. So apparently, it used to be only like a few left, and now there's not loads, they're still like endangered, but they're doing well. They're doing much better than they were in the 80s by the looks of things. So that was very cool. But we managed to see a white eye, so obviously I had to track the GPS coordinates. Well, I didn't, Batman did, and all the stuff that he was supposed to do. Again, this is not very scientific language here, but that was very cool. I also saw them do heard about them do lots of other cool stuff. Another thing they do that they didn't do while we were out there because the water was so choppy, and I think they had boat issues. But another thing they do is they do a lot of dives where they're like replanting coral reefs. There was actually a big coral spawn as well that was over there a few months ago. So that was really cool hearing about the incredible work that they're doing for the environment, for the planet, for the world. So again, I want to say a huge thank you to the conservation team for very kindly having me. I hope it wasn't too much of a nuisance asking lots of questions. I honestly felt like, because the internet access wasn't great, I would just ask them loads of questions. They were like my Alexa. I would be like, so how long does a giant tortoise live for? And like just stuff like that, which was quite funny. And I'd just, ask lots of questions. But it was incredible. So it's definitely one of those things like I won't be able to afford to go back to that island without having Batman working there. So it was definitely, a once in a lifetime opportunity that I'm so grateful for. Oh, we also, wait, I need to tell you the story about the spaghetti skink. No, I'm thinking, Esme, what do you mean a spaghetti skink? So one of our evenings, we went to the canteen with little Tupperware containers, got our food, went for a hike to the top of the kind of mountain / highest point of the island. I was going to say we watched the sunset. We watched the sunset behind a few clouds. There were quite a few clouds that evening. As I said before, I went during the rainy season. What do you expect? But as we were eating and it was like golden hour, I accidentally dropped a little bit of spaghetti, and then this skink came over, which if you don't know what a skink is, it's like a little small lizardy thing. It came over and it started eating my spaghetti. And then another skink came over and the ecologists were all like, that is a big boy. That's the biggest skink I've seen in my life. So anyway, there were these two skinks and it was like the Disney film Lady and the Tramp where they were like eating the spaghetti. And I was like, oh no, they're gonna end up kissing. So that was our fun entertainment of the evening. And then that evening on the way back, because as I said before, it gets dark super quickly, one of the ecologists, who is Seychelles, she knew her nightlife bugs so well. That was like one of her expertise. So she was showing us all of the scorpions with the UV light, which was so cool. Again, if you find creepy crawlies heebie-jeebie, don't worry. I won't. I know this is a video podcast, but you won't be seeing any, so you're all good. I'm just describing them. I think we saw a scorpion like hold not a millipede, they're the long ones, a centipede, which are the shorter ones. So that was very cool, being able to kind of like, see nature in the wild. We also saw a spider. I'm gonna have to try and remember what the spider is called. Anyway, it was the spider that, this is for my Harry Potter fans, it looks like / it was inspired by the spider in Harry Potter. And most people, when you say the spider in Harry Potter, you think of Aragog, which is like the real big one. Not that one. It's the one that Mad-Eye Moody does the curse on, that makes it all like shrivel and like be upset, which, you know, it's a spider with a curse on it, it's going to be upset. But you know what I mean? That one, which has really long, thin legs. So that was very cool. I felt so bad because they were like, oh, would you like to hold this like endangered beetle? And I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to. So anyway, they put it on my hand and it literally was on my hand for like 2 seconds before it jumped back onto my friend. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've just remembered I've got bug spray all over me. No wonder this beetle was like, get me out of here. No, thank you. So I felt awful. Obviously, the beetle was all good, but I was like, okay, no more touching creepy crawlies, because as I said before, I was just doused in bug spray all over me because I get bitten. I must be very tasty anyway. So there we go. Also, talking about creepy crawlies, on our last night in our little cabiny thing, we had some giant ants that came into our room. Now, luckily at this time, when we realised, oh my gosh, we've been infested by giant ants, I was sitting on the bed. So I was laughing while Batman was there trying to like hop up and down, trying not to like, number one, trying not to step on these ants, because ecologist, but also because they had big pincers and we didn't want to get bitten. So he ended up getting like a sweeping brush and kind of sweeping them out of the room. And I don't know why this came to my mind, but I just said, because we realised that they were kind of coming from under the door, I just said, can we put like salt round the door or something like they do in like horror films or something to try and keep away? Is that like, what do they keep away with salt? Like ghosts or I don't know, something like that. Isn't that like a thing? Or am I making this up? I mean, it keeps snails away, that's for sure. So I was like, can we put like salt on the ground? Will that keep them away? And then he was like, Esme, why don't we use the bug spray? And I was like, oh yeah! So we used the bug spray at the bottom of the door to try and keep them out. And then I thought, on my bed, I'm nice and safe. And as I said before, creepy crawlies don't scare me, but ants with big pincers, like I don't think anybody wants to be near an ant with big pincers. Like, who wants to be pincered by an ant? So I was there, you know, as I said before, thought I was laughing, ants can't get me on the bed, and then I looked down. I have not felt this horror since I was a child and I watched Doctor Who, and I found out that Daleks could fly, because this ant, I thought I was safe on the bed. Oh, no. It was on the bed, and I was like, oh my gosh, the ants can climb. So, luckily the ants were moved out of the bedroom. They were swept up, swept away. All was well. We did end up watching a TV show or a movie, I can't remember what it was, on my tablet in bed before we went to sleep that night. And then suddenly I hear Batman go, oi! And then we realised that there was a ant in the bed, and I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to sleep tonight? I was very tired, obviously, like always. I slept like a baby. And there were luckily no more ants after that. And apparently Batman slept in that room again the night after, because he very kindly took me to the airport. He went on the bumpy ride on the boat all the way back to the mainland, dropped me off at the airport, and then got the bumpy boat all the way back home. And by the time he got back home, he said it was so late that he, instead of moving back in with his roommate, I haven't even told the Alan story. Oh, maybe I'm gonna have to save that one for the next episode. But anyway, if you know Alan, you know. Anyway, so he went back to that room and he said it felt very lonely without me, but at least he had the ants to keep him company. So on that note, I'm going to finish off today's podcast episode there. I really hope you enjoyed hearing about my adventures in the Seychelles. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, go and check that out. Also, if you're new to the podcast and enjoy hearing my story times of what I get up to each week, which is often quite chaotic, then please subscribe to the podcast or rate it 5 stars or follow it or whatever it is on whatever podcast platform you are on. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to all of the ecologists and the ecology team, the biologists and everyone for very kindly having me on the private island. I really appreciate it. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity that I'm so grateful for, that I will remember for the rest of my life. So thank you so much. And also, let me know in the comments what I should do for my 100th podcast episode, because it's coming up soon and I feel like we need to do something special. So yeah, also let me know what your favourite Seychelles creature that I mentioned in today's podcast episode is. I think I'm going to have to say the giant tortoises, because the ones that are friendly were just so cute. I got to feed one a starfruit as well, which was adorable. So yeah, them or the baby turtles. I mean, you can't go wrong with baby turtles, can you? Anyway, I will see you all in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye!